Welcome back. Illinois lawmakers advanced a bill this morning changing how liability is accrued for companies that violate the state's Biometric Information Privacy Act. Under the current law, companies need to get written consent from customers and employees to use biometric information like fingerprints, face scanners, and retina scanners. That part of the law would not change. What would change, though, is what happens when a company violates the law.
By changing the assessment of damages from a per violation standard to a one person, one violation standard. This bill addresses the liability issue and provides some relief to small businesses while still ensuring that the protections of BIPA remain intact.
Opponents argue, although the legislation would take liability from per swipe to per person for future offenses, it does not directly address previous violations.